Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Go for a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Want to shop Walmart Black Friday deals first? Walmart Plus members get early access to our hottest deals. Join now and get 50% off a 1-year annual membership. Shop Black Friday deals first with Walmart Plus. See terms at walmartplus.com.
Let's hang out. Let's hang out. And let's talk about what Leslie's about. Let's hang out. And let's listen to Leslie and shout. Let's hang out. Let's hang out.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Lez Hang Out, the podcast where we just want you to take a deep breath in and let it out. Don't think about the breath, don't judge the breath. Just let the breath take with it all of your cares and your worries. From the West Coast, I'm Lee Holmes Foster.
And from the East Coast, I'm asleep. I'm Ellie Brigida. And to those of you who've been with us through this whole journey, thank you as always for listening. If you're a new listener, welcome. We're excited to have you here. Here's what's happening this week.
This week in the Lesdom.
This week in the Lesdom is a place where we can touch base each episode about things going on with the podcast or otherwise. We are releasing all kinds of bonus episodes on our Patreon. Our last one was on a New York Christmas wedding. Our next Patreon episode is going to be on Will and Grace, which I am super excited about because I have seen every single episode 10,000 times and I have lots of thoughts. So,
And I have heard of it.
so it's going to be
I've
a
seen
blast.
some episodes here and there. Yeah, it's going to be good. Ellie's going to do a deep dive
I'm
for
going to
me.
teach Lee everything she needs to know about Will and Grace and all of the messiness, the incredible things that they did for queer representation, and the messed up shit they did too, because
I'm excited.
of course. But if you want to listen to that, you can join our Patreon at bit.ly/lespatreon.
We also want to remind everyone that it is your last chance. Time is running out to book your tickets to Costa Rica to join us on a Lez Hang Out retreat. If you are looking to get away from the cold and hang out in some hot springs with us, you can sign up at bit.ly/Let's Costa Rica to join us in May in a Costa Rica national park. So do not miss this chance. We cannot wait.
And just to clarify, your final date to join is January 30th. So you have not a lot of time. Get on it. Also, we are so excited. Journey to the Heart is coming out. We have been working on this project for the past 3 years. It has been a true labor of love. And we are so excited for you to finally hear it. First episode comes out on January 22nd. So put it in your calendars.
And you can also join us every Thursday during releases. We are going to be hosting a listening party just like we did for The Flame. So you will want to keep an eye out. We're going to be sharing the details on the links to those, how to sign up, how to join us. We're going to be listening to the episodes, answering questions, and we might have some special guests joining us here and there. So, don't miss out. We cannot wait. We're so excited.
In the Greater Lez universe, we have some depressing news. Our Flag Means Death was canceled after season 2. Our favorite gay pirate show starring another one of our favorites, Vico Ortiz, who's an incredible actor and just a beautiful human being. So can't wait to see what Vico does next, but I'm pretty bummed that this great show got canceled. Another gay goodbye.
Disappointing news. So yeah, if you need like your gay pirate fix, join us for Journey to the Heart, but sad day. In better news, you may have seen, any of you who follow Elise Bauman may have seen also that she's in a new sitcom called One More Time, which looks super fun. We're very excited to see more about it. I don't know if I've seen where it's gonna be streaming.
I'm not sure if we can, I don't know if we can watch it. It's a
Is
Canadian
it only streaming
show.
in Canada right now?
So I'm sure you gays
Canadian
will figure out
listeners,
where the hell to watch it.
Yeah, gay Canadian listeners assemble. Let us know where we're gonna be able to watch this, because I am super excited to check it out. So you gotta let us know. Send us the details, okay?
That's what's happening this week. Back to you, Ellie and Lee.
Thanks, Ellie and Lee. We are so excited to bring you episode 11 of season 7, Consensual Healing. And we are even more excited to be joined by two very special guests today. We have Shantell Yasmine. Nope, I did this wrong. Abeydeera?
Abeydeera.
Abeydeera.
We went over
Shantell
this.
Yasmine, Abeydeera. I know, but you asked and I wasn't paying attention. Yaz, we have Yaz here. Yaz is an Australian-born and Sri Lankan-made writer, actor, director, producer, all of the hyphens, all the time, who's committed to telling diverse, female-driven stories, and is also the founder of Thornbyrd Films, a queer female-led production company, and the producer of numerous LGBTQ plus titles like Girls Like Magic and Dating in Place. Ellie, I'll let you do the other intro because I'm killing this.
You're doing so great.
I'm doing great.
I just feel like we should always have you do an episode after you've come from a holiday party or from a company
some
party.
mulled wine. I'm so fine. I just can't talk. The real
perfect,
problem.
it's perfect.
The real problem is just Audrey's been sick for 2 nights, and I also haven't slept in 2 nights. So I'm rolling on vibes alone right now. It's good.
And the vibes are immaculate. We are also here with Emily Goss, who's an actor, writer, and producer known for her acting roles in the queer films and series like Snapshot, Seasons of Love, and Dating in Place. Her directorial debut, the casual abortion short A Little House in Aberdeen, is now streaming on Film Shortage and Minutes Shorts UK. Emily and Yaz, thank you for hanging out with us. We're so excited to chat with you.
Thank you.
This is going to be amazing. We have been doing the show for a long time, and one of the big things that we always try to have on the show are independent, queer producers, films. Like, you are the people who are making the shit by us and for us. So I appreciate everything that you're doing, and we're really excited to dive in.
Thank you. Thanks for
Especially
having
'cause
us.
It's not easy out there, as we know, for the indie queer creators. So
No, not
Yeah, and
easy. Not easy. Almost as difficult as pronouncing all my names. So
listen,
Shots
I gotta
fired
go.
at
Actually,
me.
sorry
At
everyone.
me.
I've got somewhere to be.
I would love though, Yaz, to sort of start with, we're going to talk about Healed today, which was an incredible film. Me and Lee both watched it. You've been killing it on the queer film festival circuit right now. But I'd love to hear from you because you've been producing stuff for a while, like from Girls Like Magic and all of that. So like, how did you get into producing all of this content, and what has that journey been like for you?
Oh man. Well, if I'm being honest, it was never my idea. I had a wonderful friend who is my producing partner in Girls Like Magic, Julia Erringer, who she said, she was like, I think we should write a story about you and like about us. And she was like, you know, like a Sri Lankan musician. And I was like, nobody's going to want to watch that. That was how I felt. And so I was wrong, because Girls Like Magic had a pretty big audience in the end. And it kind of just snowballed from there. Like I moved to Los Angeles, started acting, and, you know, when you find yourself at a really good acting school, the first thing they tell you is that, like, you need to make your own stuff if you want to be acting, because you need to write characters for you. And, you know, until I did Girls Like Magic, the truth is that I actually never saw a character like me on screen. So I'd never seen myself reflected back at myself. And so that really, I don't know, Girls Like Magic kind of changed my life. It really did. And I understood, because of the reception that Girls Like Magic had, because of the people that would reach out to me telling me things, you know, like I had people send me emails from Sri Lanka and, you know, South Africa and just places that, you know, don't get the kind of representation that they need. And so once that happened, I realized that my voice was important. And, you know, that coupled with always being a storyteller, I started as a songwriter and then I just moved into being a film writer. So I was always writing, but yeah, that was the catalyst for it. I always say that, like, Girls Like Magic saved my life, because being a queer storyteller has honestly saved my life.
Yeah.
I've had a pretty crazy journey to land here, and including I'm sober. I think it's 6 years or something. I don't know. I've lost track now. But but yeah. So the queer stories have basically taken up every part of my being now, and that's what I focus on. So yeah.
I love that. I also love the very casual, and then I just started writing movies. Like, why not? How straightforward and simple of an answer. And then the next step is I just made movies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it seem that easy. It's just, I'm going to make this web series during COVID. I'm going to make this movie, and then she does it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very, very impressive.
It's great. We need people to do that though. Like please, yes. Please just do that. Just keep doing that because it is, and because I think it's so true what you're saying about the importance of seeing yourself, getting to see yourself on a screen. And I think it's so funny because it's even after, Ellie and I have been doing this podcast for a long time, and it's we talk so much about queer media just sort of all the time in our lives now. And then sometimes we turn around and talk to straight people and they're like, I don't, what's happening
right
here, and it's and the conversation that I have a lot is trying to explain to people where I'm like, oh, but you're suggesting a thing to me, but are there gay people in it? And they're like, does there have to be gay people in something for you to watch it? And I'm like, well, kind of it does help,
right.
We only have
but they don't get it.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Well, yeah,
exactly. We only have so much time, and I'm I've spent so much time watching straight people for so much of my life, so
right.
It's just...
Well, the thing is that for me, I want to be in a relationship with the people that I'm on screen with. Now, maybe not romantically, but I want to feel like they're my friends and that I care about them. And so in order for me to invest in a character, there needs to be something that I can relate to them about. We as queer people did probably spend a lot of our life really doing our best to identify with these characters that we kept seeing on screen. And there were plenty of characters that I loved. I was such a rom-com fanatic when I was growing up. But there was always something missing, man, there was always something that wasn't quite right. And I was always basically taking these characters and making them fit what I needed, rather than seeing someone and go, oh, I get you, right? That was kind of... That was what was missing. And so, yeah, it's a character doesn't have to be queer for me to be able to identify with them, but it helps.
It does help.
It
does help.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if they're not gay, we'll just make them gay in our head anyway.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
it's
That's
just
what we
easier.
do every other
Skips the
week.
process.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm we've literally spent 7 years making every character we could possibly make gay. So yes, we get that. Let's talk a little bit about Healed. So how did this particular movie come to you? How did it speak to you? How were you this is the movie that I want to write?
Well, I always say this, I have to preface my answer because I don't know if you gathered, I'm not American, and I always mess up things when it comes to American politics or, the court system or whatever. But basically I saw an article about a court in Florida that had awarded a psychologist the right to be able to practice conversion therapy on a teenager. And it was based on the therapist had said that not being allowed to conduct conversion therapy was against their constitutional right for free speech. And that...
Okay.
Yeah.
A little bit of a stretch.
Yeah. Well, they won. Right? They won.
Wow.
And so I saw this article and I was like, how interesting that their free speech is being upheld, but mine is not. My freedom of choice and their freedom of choice aren't equal. And so basically I just decided that I wanted to write something that would start a conversation. And Emily and I have spoken about this a lot. Genre films whether it be thriller or horror, have started to become a great place for these kinds of conversations for social change. And so specifically, I wanted to write something about conversion therapy and package it in a way that hopefully it would reach broader audiences and start conversations with people that wouldn't normally be having this conversation. So I wanted to extend the conversation further than the queer community. I wanted it to be packaged in a way that it was a film that anybody might want to watch because it's a thriller first, and then it touches on all of these deep social issues and hopefully promotes conversations and change. So
I love that you went that route, and in my head all I'm doing right now is I'm like, so say I invented a robot that when I say slaps someone so hard upside the head. Like, is it protecting my free speech if I just keep telling it to slap you? Like, what's the limit here? Because, like, I'm allowed to say whatever I want to say, right? Like, two different solutions to the same problem. I think both valid, equally valid.
Oh, definitely both valid. I think that for me, the victory is when people have these conversations, right? Because I can't fight the bigger battle of, bad versus evil. I'm just one person, but what I can do, hopefully, is get some people that maybe hadn't thought to think. And in doing that, it's like the little ripples, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we can all do that, if we can all just get one or two people to think outside of themselves, then hopefully those little ripples become huge waves. And that's how the change happens. So, yeah. I always go for the small positive change, even though I would like to slap a bunch of people over the head, quite frankly.
That's okay.
And Emily, how did you come on board as well?
Yaz and I had done Dating in Place together, and then I think it was around April of 2021, spring of 2021. So Dating in Place had recently come out, and she asked me if I wanted to be a part of this next project she was working on and help her produce it. And because I had seen her deliver under the most extraordinary of circumstances on Dating in Place, I knew that I could go on this journey with her, and that she would lead us somewhere worthwhile, but also like creatively fulfilling and important.
I do feel like too, like for the like you were saying, Yaz, about like everyone could watch it. Like I do feel like it is ridiculously gay, like listeners, because you're all gay. It's ridiculously gay. Don't worry about that. But it does take such, you're right. Like it reminded me like of like a Get Out of sorts, like that kind of a vibe, right? Where it's like, okay, yes, we're talking about this social issue, but it's in such an interesting package of the thriller that like really you're watching it to be like, what is going to happen next? Like, where is this going? And then, yes, you're getting all the wheels spinning of like, here's the broader conversation we're having. But yeah, hopefully, how has it been received since you've released it? Like, does it have the broad audience that you're wanting it to, or you feel like it could get there?
We're only in like its infancy, right? So it's been out for a little over a month, and what's been cool is that we've had a couple of reviews come in from not queer outlets
Oh, nice.
that have specifically like Film Inc. Australia and Film Threat, who both of the reviewers have said something, to the effect of, don't be foolish enough to pigeonhole this as a queer story. This is a story for everyone that just happens to have a queer narrative. But yeah, I mean, it's just, but like there's nothing queerer, but also there is nothing queer about it. Does that make sense? Like, my character has a wife who's about to have a baby. It doesn't get any queerer, right?
Yes.
But at
Yes.
the same time, the exact, not the exact same thing, but like it could easily have just been a husband and wife, but in this particular story, it's a wife and wife, and that's where you dropped in. You dropped in to the world of these wives, but there's no explanation. There's no like, oh, okay, and this is how they got pregnant, and this is it's just like,
Yeah, where's the backstory?
Yeah, how
right?
did they get
right? Yeah. Well, that's one of the big problems that we face as creators, is that a lot of the time we're told we have to explain. This is why we keep seeing like coming out story after coming out story, because that's what we're relegated to. Our stories are relegated to coming out, and we have to continually explain to people that don't understand the queer narrative how we got to where we got to. And I think that that's shitty for queer audiences, because we just want to see true life stories that are far more interesting than our coming out stories. Do you know what I mean? We're bigger than that.
That's really interesting, and I think really well put, that we always have to provide context and like introduce everyone to the queer community instead of being able to start however many years into a relationship.
Right.
That's super interesting.
Yeah, and that's something that with Thornbyrd Films, it's like, you know, kind of one of our mandates is no coming out stories. So we're not explaining things. Like, for example, in this film, Jazz's father isn't brown and I'm brown, and, you know, he has a different accent, and those things don't need to be explained. If you can't wrap your mind around it, then all right, that part of the story is not going to land for you. But like, we don't need to waste time explaining these things for people, right? Diversity exists. Now let's tell a story, you know?
And you know what's so funny is you're saying that, and it literally never even occurred to me once while I was watching the movie. And to be fair, possibly that's because I'm a millennial of a certain age, and I was mostly just wildly excited to see Zach from Gilmore Girls.
I was like, this is what Zach from Gilmore Girls' life turned out like.
But also, it literally never once occurred to me until you just said that. And I was like, oh, right.
Yeah.
You're correct. Because who cares?
Right. Well, it was interesting in some of the initial, like, we had some test audiences, and there were a few people that came back and said, you know, well, we don't understand how she can have a different accent to her father. And I was like, oh, you mean like me and my parents? All right.
That's so funny. That's such a funny thing to like zero in on in that whole movie of all things, right?
Like so much other shit is happening. Like,
okay,
you don't.
but you know, loose strings from that plot is the dad's accent. Really, like it's just. It's just very, very silly for that to be the thing that stands out. But good for those people. I'm glad their attention to detail is really good. That's great.
Or unimportant details, I guess.
Like you were just saying, Emily, I'm like, I am trying to think now, like now that we were on that, like how many movies I've seen with like a pregnant lesbian couple in them.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm really excited about
It's not a lot.
Our Son with Luke Evans and Billy Porter that's coming out soon. But they have like a little boy. They're not pregnant. I mean, like the closest thing I can think of is the Tig Notaro documentary where she's trying to get pregnant.
My best example was to take it all the way back to Friends.
Oh, hell yeah. Absolutely.
And that is not the
that's far back.
we want to go back to. But I'm like, I'm trying to think of what else I can even think of. There's not a lot, you know?
Yeah. Good way to go with that Friends reference. That was very impressive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously Bet and Tina, but that's also TV.
Oh, yes. Sure.
Yeah,
yes.
Bet and Tina. And then
our brains just have actually a blank space where we tend to
put the L word.
Forget that the L word exists in there because we're like, well, and then obviously the L word, sure, of course. But,
right.
Right. Yeah, there's not a whole lot else that I can think of. So.
Yeah, I mean, and also.
So that's fun.
Yeah. A lot of people have spoken actually about the dynamic of Emily's character Olivia being bisexual, which has been something that has been commented on a lot, and I'm really happy about that because that was all very, very intentional, and I wanted to have that conversation because I'd figured we weren't covering enough, so I figured we'd talk about that as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and it's because the thing that I love is like we were saying, it's not. I think Ellie and I are the same way. Like, we love gay characters, but we also love gay characters in stories where, like, the fact that they're gay doesn't really matter, And what I love about this movie is that it's like you start the movie and you're like, it doesn't matter that they're gay at all. They're just a couple going on a creepy wellness retreat where everything's getting spooky and weird until it matters.
Until it really matters. Yeah.
Right? Until it starts to matter a whole lot.
Yeah.
And you have all of these things about like the, reveals and the twists and all of that, where I feel like having Olivia's character be bisexual, like almost just makes it sting like that much more, that you're like,
Absolutely.
why? Like it's like almost so much worse in that way, because we talk a lot about the mistreatment that bisexuals have been subjected to in the media for years. We may be familiar with some of the historical ways they've been represented. Not just having one of them be bisexual, but having Olivia be bisexual to still like ultimately make the like I can snap out of this and do that kind of choice and stuff of like this is not like a switch you can flip in your bisexual children parents, okay? All the straight conservative parents listening to our podcast right now.
Right.
It's such clever writing because the thriller, like the monster, if you will, exploits each character's weaknesses. And so I think it's so brilliant of Yaz to play on internalized biphobia and the judgment that bi people feel from the straight community and the queer community. And when all of that is put into a pressure cooker, what can happen? It was really exciting for me as a bi actress to find out that Olivia was going to be bisexual and then work with Yaz on this scene with Georgia in which Georgia played by Guinevere Turner, and Olivia really dive into some of her deep-seated fears.
Yeah, I did find that conversation to be super like meaty, and like you were saying too about like you don't need to explain things, but like that conversation is the perfect way to like explain things while also moving forward the character development and the story.
Right.
Where like it was important to say that Olivia is bisexual and for her to speak the words in that conversation. But it doesn't necessarily mean you're like hitting someone over the head with it. It's part of the plot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do think that one of the, and I feel like I'm like the biggest bisexual ally. I know that sounds so silly, but I do think that we don't have enough bisexual representation. I think that the world is actually worse off for the fact that we don't have more bisexual representation on screen. And I think that we need positive bisexual representation. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions, and I won't go too far into my beliefs on all of it, but one of the biggest misconceptions is that, and this is why it was written into the script, is that, well, if you're bisexual, why don't you just choose to be with a man? So basically what you're trying to say is you actually don't care about my happiness. Was the overarching message of the film is that it's just like, but what about my happiness? Right? Why do you care about what's going on in my pants over what's going on in my heart? Like, it's just the whole thing just like blows my mind. And I think that, I do think that I've met and heard a lot of stories from a lot of bisexual people who, because of family pressures, societal pressures, etc., have walked away from love because families, society made it too hard. And that's insane to me because finding love's really fucking hard. right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that that's a conversation that should be had more often and loudly. Like, you know, when we start talking about things like choice, and when we say, you know, well, it's not a choice, and it's like, but why would anyone want to make it? Why would you want me to make that choice anyway? Why would you want me to do something that I don't want to do? Like, I only get to live once, right? Do you want to spend your life doing something you don't want to do? No. So shut the fuck up.
I think as creepy as Georgia was in this movie, we all know the real villain of the movie is the man who thinks that just by virtue of being there and being a man, he's a good alternative.
He's a great choice. Yeah.
He's a great choice. If she can't be with the woman she's in love with, surely she'll accept any man who happens to be here. That's good enough, right?
I'll show her how it's done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
I did love, like, there were so many nuanced conversations though about Olivia's bisexuality, and like you said, just about like I did love where she's basically saying like, yes, like my ex was nice and sweet and I loved him, but I wasn't madly in love with him like I am in love with my wife, and like that's why. Right? Like, and I'm still bisexual. I am madly in love with this person that I chose to spend the rest of my life with. And like, that's it. And she's trying to explain it to this woman. Also, I was loving Georgia in general. Like, Georgia is giving me,
You would, Ellie.
Georgia is just giving me such like hot repressed lesbian villain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did we mention how we're just gonna make these characters gay anyways?
There was a moment at the end. I'm sorry, but were you trying to say she was gay or no?
Yeah. So
you were, right?
It's really up to your
interpretation.
Own. Yeah. I don't know if Guinevere played the character as gay. It was something that was like kind of presented, and then it was all up to her because it's all in the undertones anyway. So you know, but yeah, I mean, it's also she's Guinevere Turner, so she's gay either way.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, but also just like, yeah, so many conversations, like you said, like it's meant to inspire conversations. One of the other ones that like really sparked something in me too was like, there's a conversation basically when I think Olivia's talking about like how when they're holding hands in public, like they see people staring at them. I'm just curious, like for both of you, has that ever been your own personal experience where you've like had someone looking at you and like the feelings you've had around that?
That was it's funny. That's what a cool thing that you picked up on that. That was my personal experience. That was like the internalized homophobia that I lived with until I went to like buttload of therapy. And that was the thing that always really struck home to me when I was like walking with my wife and holding her hand, and I would notice people noticing us, pointing, having conversations about us, and it took a lot of talking to myself to move past that and to come over the hill of, you know, the internalized homophobia. So yes, that was a very, very personal to me piece of dialogue. So I'm glad that it touched you.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it is a relatable experience from either side, because like I have been on dates with people where I literally was holding their hand and they were like, people are looking at us like, this is weird. And I was like, yeah, because we're hot. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, because I'm on a date with you. Like, this is amazing. And they're like, oh, this, you know what I mean? So like, I feel like it is just very relatable and also very nuanced and layered, right? There's many reasons why you might feel either unsafe or uncomfortable in that situation.
Yeah, and that was also something that I do feel like basically I wrote all of the meaningful meaty lines family. That was because I knew
I disagree, but there are a lot of them. I just think there are a lot for all of the characters.
For you, Emily, what were some of the things that like hit home for you?
Yeah, certainly that conversation. I love the interactions between Jazz and Georgia. I think the fact that Jazz comes into this meditation retreat with a certain amount of skepticism, and that Georgia doesn't just try to ignore her skepticism. I think that's really good writing and is so brilliantly played by Guinevere and Yaz. Like they kind of create a friendship. These two smart, tough, straight-talking women can relate to each other in a way I think is really unique. And, you know, yeah, maybe Georgia is a villain and maybe Jazz is our hero, but there's this commonality.
If it wasn't for that pesky manipulation and brainwashing, they really could have something
Right?
there, you know?
Yeah.
Hurt people leave.
Repressed people try to repress people,
Oh,
Ellie. It's just
that's
a tale
the
as
new
old as
tagline.
time.
Yes.
Yeah. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to hear from some sponsors. We're going to come right back. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. And as we head into Thanksgiving time, I want to start by thanking my wife, Kelsey, who has not only listened to just about every episode of this podcast for 8 seasons now, but who also is the only reason I'm able to make time to record it every week. She takes the kids, gets them dinner, and gets them ready for bed, just so that Ellie and I can come on and yell about gay things into each other's faces for an hour. So here's a reminder to send some thanks to the people you're grateful for in your life, including yourself. I've been in therapy for a long time now, and one thing that's so important about therapy is how it teaches you to be more intentional. And being intentional about gratitude and how to show that to the people you appreciate is just one of the many benefits that I've gotten from therapy over the years. If you've been thinking of starting therapy, consider giving BetterHelp a try. I know how hard it can be to find time for regular therapy, and BetterHelp is designed to be flexible and convenient for your schedule. You can fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. If you want to start being more intentional about gratitude in your life, visit betterhelp.com/Lez Hang Out today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Lez Hang Out.
Let's hang out.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can be a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help you find options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states. For many businesses, the holiday season can be both an exciting and stressful time. With so many balls in the air, one thing you definitely want to know you can rely on is how you're selling your products. And with Shopify, you can rest easy knowing it's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Nobody does selling better than Shopify, and when it comes to successful brands like Aloe, Allbirds, or Skims, an often overlooked secret is all the things that go on behind the scenes that make selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, if you take a peek behind that curtain, you'll see that Shopify is what makes it all possible. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, so that's more happy customers and way more sales going. It's true all the time, but especially this time of year, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use for Realm merch with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm. For many businesses, the holiday season can be both an exciting and stressful time. With so many balls in the air, one thing you definitely want to know you can rely on is how you're selling your products. And with Shopify, you can rest easy knowing it's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. Nobody does selling better than Shopify, and when it comes to successful brands like Aloe, Allbirds, or Skims, an often overlooked secret is all the things that go on behind the scenes that make selling, and for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, if you take a peek behind that curtain, you'll see that Shopify is what makes it all possible. Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%, so that's more happy customers and way more sales going. It's true all the time, but especially this time of year, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use for Realm merch with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
I want to dive back in because something that we sort of touched on a little bit, but I want to dive into a little more, and maybe I'll preface it with a quick shout out to, if any of our listeners haven't watched the movie yet, you can rent it on Amazon Prime and know all of the things that we're talking about right now if you don't yet. But one of the things that I do want to talk a little bit about is, because we touched on the idea of doing this as a horror, right? And Ellie, you mentioned the sort of like Get Out vibes of it. And one of the things that I thought was interesting about it is it felt like it actually worked two ways for me. One of them is that it does sort of, I think, create a story that is immediately more approachable for, again, like we were saying, anyone. Like, you don't have to be queer to watch this movie, obviously. But I also think you especially don't have to be queer to, like, see the trailer or, like, see it go by on Prime and be like, ooh, that's a thing that looks like, you know, spooky and thrillery, and I like that, so I'm going to watch it, which... great, like let's trap them. I love that. But the other thing that's funny is it's like Ellie and I recorded an episode for our patrons this season on Miseducation of Cameron Post, right?
I love that movie.
And I mean, I do too, and at the same time, I was like, and I hate it.
Ooh,
like, because
I saw it
hot take.
years ago, and so I don't remember it too well.
It's not that I hate it. It's a great movie, and it's fantastic. But I'm just like, do I, a queer person, want to sit and watch like 2 hours of conversion therapy trauma?
Fair.
Like, no. But then I watched Healed and I was like, yes, because just make it spooky and thrillery. And like suddenly I'm totally into it. Because I think the thing is, it provides like a buffer, right? There's like a distance to it where I'm not just watching somebody like in the real world, like of real life, be sent to conversion camp by their parents and like just be traumatized for an hour and a half. I'm like, no, what's happening? It's spooky. There's things, there's vibes, there's flashing lights, there's music playing, and there's, you know, there's dark lighting and stuff. And it's like, it provides you that level of like, it's not real, right? Like, I know it's real, and we all know it's real, and it's not like the idea of conversion therapy isn't scary on its own and isn't like a real horrible traumatic thing, but that's also not what you're watching. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
it's about the delivery, and it's about
it's right next to it, but it's not that.
Yeah, you can't just, you know, that's why also a lot of the, and I mean, just by nature as a writer, I lean into comedy, but you can't, like, a lot of the dialogue, there were like jokes or like smart aleck comments or whatever, and you can't just continue to deliver scary. You can't maintain that dynamic, right? You have to have the peaks and the valleys, and you know, you have to feed it to them slowly. That's otherwise it kind of just feels like trauma porn, right? Like it's too much.
Well, yeah, and that's exactly what Leah's saying. Like, because we've watched a million queer movies, and a significant amount of them do feel like trauma porn, and so we try to tell our listeners, like, here are the ones that are probably going to traumatize you. If you like that, you can watch it. Or like, it's gonna traumatize you in this way, right?
It's interesting because I think the truth of the matter is, when you watch a film like Miseducation of Cameron Post, like, it's trauma porn in a way that I think hits queer people more. Because straight people don't watch that and have it be as traumatic to them because they can't put themselves in that position. But I think anybody can watch a movie like this and realize the horror of what's happening, right? Like, it is gonna hit home differently for across the board because everybody can watch that and be like, wow, that's fucked, right? Like, that's a fucked up thing that's happening here. What a weird situation to be in where somebody's drugging you and hypnotizing you and manipulating you and like fucking up with your mind. And like, yeah, that would be violating and terrible. And you're like, yes, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. But I don't know that they see it the same way, you know?
Yeah, I think also it's about, and this was something that we did intentionally, is that so the vessel that we use to deal with the queer issue, the vessel itself was a broader issue that we deal with in society. So like the pervasive nature of technology and how it's just like seeping in and taking over our lives, right? That's an issue that everybody can speak to. So then when we use technology to deal with this queer issue, now everybody kind of has an in. Everyone can kind of understand it. Unlike if you just deliver, like, if we were to have just delivered a film about just like straight ahead conversion therapy, it may not have been relatable to broader audiences. So like the choice to kind of couple it with something that was, you know, relatable to everybody was very, very intentional, hoping that, you know, by the time they get to the conversion therapy part, they're in. That's the that's the hope, you know, and they're like, oh my God, and also like, oh, if they could do this with conversion therapy, they could do this, like, you know, I've spoken about like what if this something like this was used to, I don't know, hypnotize people out of eating or out of, it could be for anything, right? Like it's you know, obviously it's a film and it's sensationalized and all the rest of it, but like this is something that like we all use our phones, we're in them all the time. Something like this could just like sneak its way into our life without us knowing, and everybody can kind of relate to that. So that was...
Oh, please. I'm in the Bay Area right now. Some tech bro within a 10-mile radius of me is already taking notes on like, how can I hypnotize people via app and what?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, also I like joke about it, but like, so surely I cannot be the only person in the world that's had this idea. Like, I'm not that unique.
The hypnosis app or the...
Yeah.
The hypnotizing straight, hypnotizing people into being straight or doing it via app. Yeah, which...
I think that being able to hypnotize someone via app and then, you know, whether it is used for these kinds of purposes or not. But like, yeah, like surely I'm not the only one that thought that this was a thing, right? I just chose to make a movie about it rather than develop an app.
I think what we're landing on is this movie is the perfect cross of this is if Get Out, Miseducation of Cameron Post had a love child with Josie and the Pussycats, right? Like that.
Oh my God.
I wasn't sure what the third one was going to be.
Of course. What else?
That's the best.
Josie and the Pussycats is iconic.
Yeah.
It's completely iconic.
All you needed was to make it a musical. See, this is the only thing missing.
Next time.
I did love. Okay, so Emily knows this about us, but Yaz, I don't know if you know this. Me and Lee are very musical. I'm a singer. Lee's a singer. Lee's a songwriter. We've like written musicals and all kinds of stuff like that. So like anytime that there's some musical component of something, I'm like,
yeah, we were into it.
I was also dying. What app were you using at the end? Logic?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I was just laughing. I was like, she's gonna save her girlfriend with Logic, her wife with Logic.
So you guys, did you know that Yaz is an incredible singer and songwriter and wrote songs for the movie?
Did you write the song?
Yes.
I love that. That's amazing. Yeah, I was super excited because honestly, like when it started playing, like when the song first came on in the beginning, and I was like, oh, like we got a song going, like I love this. I love the like I was a teen pop idol backstory. I was like totally digging that, and then it comes back around in such a big way, and I was like, yeah. Incredible.
The only way to snap your wife out of hypnosis, is to play your hit that you hate.
So funny.
Is to play the song that you thought I was such a babe for when you were in high school. Like, I love it. That's good. It's so good.
Yeah, we were just having a nerd moment over that. So I thought that was funny.
Yeah, it was definitely Logic, but what what we did, because I did a lot of the I probably did like 90% of the graphics for the film myself. And so what we did was, it was like so dodgy. It's like a screen recording and then like kind of making it a little bigger so you couldn't see any of the labels or anything. And then we just went in and changed all of the colors on the program so that it didn't look like that.
Nice.
And I wasn't breaking any, yeah. So,
You're like, what kind of license did I buy for this?
yeah.
Sorry, it was not Logic for all of you out there.
Yeah, that's it. It wasn't.
It
Definitely.
I hear it was that hot new doll Bogic, okay? That's what the kids are calling it.
Yeah, that's it. Next
it.
thing I'm getting letters from Apple. Well, oh well.
Are you mostly working on music for your films now, or like are you writing like EPs, releasing stuff, or what's your music like these days?
I mostly work on music for film whenever I shoot something, and working on the music for this was fun because writing like an Avril Lavigne-esque tune was so fun. But I have in all my spare time recently, I have started a new band because I've been missing.
Nice.
That's
music,
awesome.
So, yeah.
What's the band called?
It's called Sun Valley. It's a 2 female-led voices harmony. It's like country soul. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very
Love it.
cool. Very cool. We love it. I'm also in a band. We're called the Femmes.
Nice.
The Femmes.
And all women and non-binary
Very cool.
Nice.
musicians. Also very harmony heavy. More pop, but Lee's writing us some songs.
Ooh.
Well, I'm trying to write you some songs. Get out of here.
Well, writing me some songs, and then I'll collaborate with the Femmes. But love it. Yeah, no, I also was dying with the suspenders.
Yes, please. Yeah, next time you want to do a full movie musical, you hit us up. We're ready.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, anytime.
I have to ask Emily because I'm just dying to know, but the pregnant belly.
Yeah.
On screen. What was the becoming pregnant for the movie? What was that like?
I have worn several pregnant bellies in my career.
Is that just like a typecasting thing?
Isn't
People are
it
like,
funny?
you know what you should be is pregnant.
I look fertile. Yeah. But I liked this belly because this was the heaviest belly that I've worn. This was a big silicone belly. Am I thinking of the right belly? Is this now? I can't. Okay, I'm getting my. Okay,
all your movie
my
bellies
belly
confused.
I have worn a belly like this in another project, but it was really heavy, and then it has a Velcro strap that we would wrap around my waist and just try to strap it as tight as we possibly could. So it is right to my body, and the weight is very helpful. And the quality of the silicone is also very helpful. The first belly I ever wore was in a movie called The House on Pine Street, and that was like a leotard with a foam belly. So it was like, the leotard was great because the belly wasn't going anywhere, but it was foam. It had absolutely no presence. So I liked this.
Wait,
belly.
how many times have you been pregnant on camera now?
Okay, I can think of 2 features and a short and 2 plays off the top of my head.
Wow.
But there might be more.
6 film children at this moment.
Littering the landscape with fictional
Yeah, your own
children.
basketball team.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wild. That's so funny. Yeah, because it's like, I do kind of love, I just like seeing, like, we do see a lot of coming out stories. We see a lot of things. It was fun seeing like here's a couple. They're married. They're starting their family. Like they're doing this thing, and it like gave you such a nice little like context for the story to take place that like didn't immediately telegraph the twist of like, my dad's just trying to straighten me out, like because you're like, yeah, you're just taking a little baby moon retreat. Sure, why not? Yeah. Makes sense.
I know. Also, at the beginning of this, I'm going to record something that's like, if you have not seen this movie, do not listen to this
Spoiler heavy.
episode yet.
So spoilers.
Yeah. Spoilers everywhere. Watch the movie, then listen
Sorry,
to this
just
interview.
bleep out me saying it. Just be like,
Yeah.
it doesn't telegraph the boop.
Yeah, and then I'll put on top of it, if you want to
Wild
know what
twist.
Lee said under here, you better watch this movie. Yes. Amazing. Is there anything else that you want our listeners to know about the movie before we head into our Q&A?
Yeah, available on Amazon to rent. Follow on social media.
Yeah, healed_movie. And I think that that's for everything. So it's healed_movie at Facebook, Instagram, that X place that used to be Twitter. I don't know.
All right. Are we ready? We're going to go into our Q&As.
Q and gay.
Question number 1. Have you ever done a wellness retreat? A, yes, or B, no?
Fuck no.
I haven't, but I would.
So the characters are sort of accurate.
Yeah.
I know that was very forceful. Yes, I like that.
No way.
You think they're going to hypnotize you?
No, I just don't. I think I would just rather lay on a beach and listen to a book. That's me being well.
You run your own wellness retreat.
Right, exactly.
With yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, question 2. What app gets the most use on your phone out of A, email, B, therapy, C, Spotify, or D, Instagram? Emily, I'll kick it to you first this time.
Absolutely my Gmail app. I do use BetterHelp, recommend BetterHelp to anyone who needs it. In between Instagram posts, I delete the Instagram app from my phone. Because
that's so
the
smart.
interface on Safari is awful. So I can never spend too much time on Instagram.
Nice.
Yeah. What's your answer, Yaz?
Same. So like I also delete Instagram in between Instagram posts. And so probably honestly email.
Wow, you're both like so much better regulated people than I am.
Yeah. And this is why you were able to produce a film. Amazing. All right, question number 3. How do you relax or recenter? A, meditation, B, yoga, C, go on a walk, or D, exercise?
Walk. Definitely walking. I love being outside.
Mine would be D, exercise. Yaz and I are both consider ourselves athletes, right? And so I think using our bodies and physicalizing emotion is helpful for both of us. Is that fair to say?
Yes. Yeah, very much so.
What kind of sports do you both do? Or have you done?
I grew up playing soccer. Yeah, I wanted to be a professional soccer player before I wanted to be an actor. That was my dream.
Very cool.
Yeah, I love that. That's so cool. I actually teach martial arts. So
nice.
Yeah. So
all the stunts, all of the stunts are your own?
Oh yeah, always. Always.
Nice.
Yeah.
What do you have like a specific martial
when
arts
you
or
bleep? I won't say what you do, but when you did that thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I do taekwondo. I started when I was very, very young and got my black belt when I was like 16 and have been doing it ever since. Yeah.
Super cool.
Okay, question 4. What is the health food that you would make your partner eat for you out of A, green juice, B, granola, C, salad, or D, fish? Start with you again, Emily.
I would say salad. I do love fish, and I have fish most days. But I think if I wanted my partner to eat a health food, it would be a salad, and I make my partner eat salads on a regular basis.
There you
go. But he's pretty good about it.
Am I making my partner eat it because I don't want to eat it, or am I making them eat it?
You can interpret the question as you need to.
But yeah, I mean, I guess based on the film, it's because you don't want to eat it, right?
because I don't want to eat it. Okay. It's green juice then.
So that was also, you're like, let me throw this in here because I hate this.
Yeah, I don't get it, man. Like I want my vegetables to be like on my plate. I eat like Emily. I eat relatively healthy. Emily is amazing. Emily has got such willpower and strength when it comes to diet.
Well, she's
and I really
constantly pregnant, so you gotta eat
I
that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, she's got to take care of all the babies. So I'm definitely not as healthy as Emily, but I do try to eat a nutritious diet. I like eat vegetables and drink fruit juice. Like I don't want my veggies
In your drink.
in my drink. It's weird.
Makes sense. All right, our final question. Who was the real villain in Healed? A, Georgia, B, Kevin, C, Jasmine's dad, or D, Olivia's dad?
Great choices.
Mm.
I'm going to say it's E,
Oof.
none of the above. And it's like the society that we're swimming in that has really corrupted all of these four people and tainted Jazz and Olivia as well. I think that's
Great answer.
It's a really cool part about the movie is all the characters are nuanced, and Yaz shines a light on our world.
That was a way better answer than what I was going to give. So
What were
I'm
you
just
gonna
gonna-
say? Kevin.
No, I can't. No, yeah, Kevin, that wanker. Yeah, no, that was a very, very astute response, and I'm stealing it. And when Emily's not around me, I'm just gonna say that as my own.
Great.
You're gonna be like, you know what just occurred to me actually is really the society.
None of them and all of them.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know. I'm pretty sure Olivia's dad's sinking like however many millions of dollars just to.
But if it wasn't for society,
get
man,
a
he wouldn't have done it.
Abominable.
You know?
So true, so true.
Emily's right.
Society-
It's
If it
not
wasn't
really
for
his
society-
fault. It's society.
Yeah.
Hurt people hurt people.
Exactly.
That's what we learned today.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Wait, and repressed people repressed people.
I
so
really like
Olivia's
that.
dad, gay, we called it. You've heard it here first, okay?
Oh my God.
Everyone.
In the
Repressed,
sequel, her
repressed.
dad and Kevin get together when Kevin didn't secretly.
Or her
have
dad
nothing
and the
happen to him.
pastor, I
When
feel like.
nothing happened to Kevin. Her dad and the pastor. Oh no.
For our listeners out there, remember you can give us your own answers to this episode's Q&A questions on our Twitter at Lez Hang Out Pod. Yaz and Emily, will you remind everyone where they can find you on socials before we wrap up?
Well, you can also tell us where they can find you for the moments
Yes.
where you re-download Instagram to post something.
Personally as well, yes.
Yeah. I don't know my social handles either.
Oh my God. Hilarious.
You're so prepared. I love it.
I am Emily Goss 650 on everything.
I think I'm Shantell. Yeah, I think I'm Shantell Yasmine Abeydeera. There's only
We're gonna
love
find it. We're gonna find it.
Yeah, Shantell _Yasmine _Abeydeera is your Instagram
Oh, you
handle.
went for it.
yeah.
That is a long Instagram handle.
That's
It's a long
amazing.
name.
No one else
Incredible.
is going to take that handle.
I know,
it.
right? Any other projects coming up that either of you want to let our listeners know about?
I don't have anything. Yeah.
So it's just it's the Healed PR tour. This is it. This is what
is.
everyone should be paying attention to.
It is. It was, the making of the movie is just the beginning, and then once it's released, this is the birth of the movie, right? So we only have a 1-month-old. So I'll let you know how it goes after a year.
Incredible.
Excited. And yes, everyone, make sure if you haven't already, watch Healed. You can rent it on Amazon Prime. Makes it super easy to watch. So you have no excuses. You better watch it. Yaz and Emily, thank you so much for hanging out with us and chatting about this amazing movie.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. Have a happy holidays. Oh, no, wait.
Have a great
I messed it up.
January.
No, it's
15th.
coming out too.
Well, they can cut
Magic
that out,
of
right?
podcasting. I know,
Happy
right?
Valentine's Day.
Amazing.
I
this is so
saved
fun.
it. I saved it for the
you
end.
leave it in and just
I'm
leave all
leaving
of
it
us
in. I'm
cracking
leaving
up
it in.
for no
I'm leaving
reason.
it. I'm leaving it in.
Let me hear you say hip, 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 well, yeah.
We love hearing from all of you, and we love continuing to build this community, so we just want to shout out some of our favorite things every episode. And this week, we want to shout out listener Kayla, who reached out on Instagram with a should have been gay suggestion, which is for Avatar: The Last Airbender. And I do want to say we have had Avatar, a couple of the Avatar series on our lists of various types for a while. And I feel like Avatar is one of those where, again, part of the reason we haven't done it yet is that we're not totally
Super well
sure
versed
where
on it.
Well,
Or what do you
super
mean?
well versed is fine. We'll just have like Caitlin come on and
Yeah.
you know, do all the the heavy lifting for us. I think it's more just that, again, people have differing opinions about like where it belongs.
Should have been
And
gay
so
or
that-
less essentials.
Like less
Yeah.
essentials should have been gay. Does that mean we do it as a extracurricular? Like all of those things. So we are figuring it out. It is on our lists. Don't worry. We will cover it somewhere at some point. But yes, first also Ellie and I need to watch all of the Avatars, which
I used to watch it. Like when I was younger, I watched it a bunch, but like I can't remember a lot of it. So
there's a bunch. There's a
Yeah.
whole lot. So we're working on it. I do want to say, because I know I also saw someone who has requested Gap the series again. Please remember, series do take us longer to
Yes.
add into our schedule because we have to watch the whole thing. And some of you might know I have no time, so it's a problem. We're working
tough.
on it.
We're doing our
It is
best.
tough, but we are trying to get to them. You just have to give us some time. So it's on our list. Don't worry, Kayla. We're going to get there.
Also, our Barbie Should Have Been Gay that came out last week was a big hit. No surprise. Barbie's gay. We had a lot of...
Everyone knows.
Everyone knows it. A lot of great Instagram comments. One from Miss Galactic, which said there was some pretty blatantly obvious trans female themes throughout, which we didn't really discuss in our Should Have Been Gay episode, but I feel like that's a whole other Should Have Been Gay for us to discuss. And there was a Reddit post that broke it down really well. So every member of the queer community, I think, saw themselves somewhere
Represented.
in Barbie. So we
Yeah.
love that. And then, of course, we got to shout out our favorite haters, Carol, who said, also, can we just, why are all of our haters have the funniest names?
Because they're all boomers, Ellie.
Like,
because they're all
Mike,
white boomers.
But Carol said,
They're all Brady Bunch names. Like, this is what's happening. Okay, the Brady Bunch comes after us on Facebook to tell us how much they hate gay people.
and to help us keep our top creator title.
Yeah.
But Carol said, seriously, question mark. Into that, Lee, were you the one who wrote the comment back? You were.
I might have been.
So what did you write back?
I said we would never joke about gay Barbie, Carol. Come
Honestly,
on.
these haters are growing on me. Like every week I wake up and I'm like, what are they going to say today? Like, I just can't wait. It's like, it's the most exciting
You're
part
like,
of my
what
morning.
is some 64-year-old man named Carl gonna tell us today, right? Like,
exactly.
Yeah. Can I also tell you, I know it's not in our list, and it probably doesn't even count because it's literally just like someone I went to college with like sent me a message on one of my stories where I reshared one of our quote graphics, and she was like, I haven't even seen them. I think it was the graphic where we were talking about like the only way to interpret this movie is
coming
as
out.
like a coming out story. And she was like, I haven't even seen this movie, and like that's how I'm now interpreting the movie.
Yes.
And I was like, tell me I'm
should.
wrong. Watch it and tell me we're wrong.
There was so much Barbie discourse this week. And also Indigo Girls, where we actually had a lot of straight
So
people come out of
true.
the woodwork and were like, I love the Indigo Girls. And I'm like, to you, I say, are you?
We're like, A, you're missing all of the context of who we are and what this series is. And B, really though?
Really? No, but
Are
they
you
were
sure?
Are you sure? They were saying no, but they were saying it in like a very like not in a Carol kind of way. They were just like, "Oh, I love the Indigo Girls. I am straight, but they're awesome."
Yeah.
But still, I was like, "Yeah,
We love that for you.
You love them." It's been a real bump in time on our socials this week.
That's been great.
As always, we want to thank our Lesbian Jesus patrons, Mark Foster,
Lizette Stye,
Adi Benitez,
Sophia Phillips,
and Armani Gucci.
and our King Princess patrons, Amy and Ellen.
And Andrea Doucette, thank you so much. We cannot continue to make this show without you.
Remember, you can also find us on all the social medias. We are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok at Lez Hang Out Pod.
You can email us at lezhangoutpod@gmail.com.
You can check out our website at lezhangoutpod.com.
Whatever app you use for podcasts, make sure you subscribe to be the first to know when new episodes drop.
We also have videos going up on our YouTube channel that you can catch at youtube.com/lezhangoutpod.
Lez Hang Out is an independently produced show hosted by us with audio production by me. Our production assistant is Kristen Murison, and Twitter shenanigans by Lee Holmes Foster, and also telling off all the trolls, Lee Holmes Foster.
If you want to help support the podcast, the first thing you can do, you can leave us a rating or a review on whatever app you use to listen to podcasts. It's free, it's easy, and it helps new people find the show.
If you want to support us financially, which is a huge deal for us and our independent team, you can do that at bit.ly/lespatreon, and you get access to all of our bonus episodes.
If you want to buy some Lez Hang Out merch, you can find all of our designs in our TeePublic. You can get them on all sorts of different merch options, like different shirts and tank tops and sweatshirts and bags and all sorts of good stuff. You can find that at bit.ly/lezshop.
And remember, we have a queer production company making queer podcast musicals with guaranteed happy endings that you can find everywhere at $beanprod.
You can also check out our website, dollarbeanproductions.com.
You can listen to all of the episodes of our first show, The Flame, on any podcasting app.
You can check out our upcoming show, Journey to the Heart, dropping everywhere you can find podcasts on January 22nd.
And if you want to help support us in making more musicals, you can join our Patreon at bit.ly/$beanpatreon. This time around, we're going to have a lot of cool behind-the-scenes stuff for you because Journey to the Heart is a choose-your-own path. Each week, the episodes are going to be decided by you, and that means that some episodes, it's going to go a certain way, and you won't know the other way unless you join our Patreon, and you could get access to some songs that you will not hear on the public feed, which is going to be pretty cool.
If you want to follow us individually, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at LSH Foster.
You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Ellie Brigida. With that, I'm Ellie.
And I'm Lee. And let's hang out again soon.
Let's hang out.
Buffet brawlers, glory holes gone wrong, cannibalistic castration cabins, public poopers? These are just a few of the crazy topics you'll hear covered on Excuse Me, That's Illegal, the pettiest podcast around. Whether you need a break from all that murdery true crime stuff, or just enjoy hearing hilarious stories told in a unique way, I got what you need. I'm Leroy Luna, your fearless host/chauffeur. So come hop in my minivan and let's go for a ride. I promise you probably won't be disappointed. Excuse Me, That's Illegal is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, basically everywhere you consume podcasts, with new episodes dropping on the 10th, 20th, and 30th of the month, baby!